Oh, I feel violent.
Well, hey, it's me. I'm finally going to get my vaccine. I'm so excited. I've been waiting a while. I'm old enough to get it, and I'm smart enough to get it.
Okay.
So I'm very happy that I'm going to get my Moderna shot today. And I wanted to tell everybody, I think you should get out there and do it too. I even changed one of my songs to fit the occasion. It goes, vaccine, 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 vaccine. I'm begging of you, please don't hesitate. Vaccine, 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 vaccine. 'Cause once you're dead, then that's a bit too late. I'm trying to be funny now, but I'm dead serious about the vaccine. I think we all want to get back to normal, whatever that is, and that would be a great shot in the arm, wouldn't it, if we could get back to that. But anyhow, I just wanted to encourage everybody, because the sooner we get to feeling better, the sooner we are going to get back to being normal. Okay, here I go. All right.
Amen, Dolly.
And here goes the shot.
It's a great choice of shirt to get a vaccine, I think.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Little shoulder cutouts. Fashion icon.
Look at her.
Oh,
Taking it like a champion. He's really taking his time pushing that
he really
vaccination into her.
Think you got it?
I mean, she's like
Got it.
130,
Okay.
so
That didn't hurt. Just stung a little bit, but that was from the alcohol pad, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Just stung a little bit. I got to say, my favorite song of all time ever
is Jolene.
is Jolene.
Really?
For
It-
real.
It actually is. Yeah, for real.
For real?
Yeah, for real. That is my that is my all-time favorite song of all
I
time.
so don't believe you.
I am 100% serious. My favorite song of all time is Jolene.
You did this to yourself.
Oh,
me
fuck, I
me
know.
not believing
I
you is
know.
your fault.
I know, but
It's actually true.
there are a number of people out there who do know this fact, and that is my favorite song. My favorite rendition of that song. This will make it a little bit easier to believe.
Vaccine
Is
vaccine.
that rendition right there? No. My favorite rendition of that song is Jack White's version from the Great White Northern Lights tour. But all that aside, Dolly Parton. First of all, the celebs are getting their vaccines, and I love that Arnold got his and was saying, "Follow me if you want to live." And I love seeing Dolly getting hers. Here's a wild thing. After I saw this video, I just fucking love Dolly Parton. I think she is such an incredible woman and such a like fucking amazing like businesswoman, amazing entertainer. I would love to spend some time with her. But I was like Googling her getting this vaccine. She's a massive philanthropist. And but I didn't realize this. She donated $1 million to Moderna research
Oh, no
for the
way.
vaccine.
No wonder she got hers so early.
Yeah, well, dude, she's up there.
This
She's an
is
old
the
lady.
Moderna
how old is,
vaccine.
how old is
going
Dolly
in.
Parton?
Alexa, how old is Dolly Parton?
She looks like 50. It's crazy.
Dude, 75.
And she's also, I think, a Capricorn as well, January 19th.
And that's
That's
really
why-
what
that's
puts
why
the
I love
icing
her.
on the cake.
That's
Is
why I
that
love
she's a
her.
Capricorn.
People who are born in January just live longer. It's weird.
She's my girl.
Yeah.
Oh, is that true?
I have no idea. I just made that up.
You know
Fuck, I was gonna
another-
say it. I got some time.
I was making fun of you, dude. You said that.
You said that like
I said
a
that?
week ago.
Yeah, we were
I
doing a
don't remember what comes out of my fucking mouth.
Exactly. That just backs up Tay's point about never believing you about anything.
Well, but I do know for a fact. My favorite movie is Alien. My favorite song is Jolene. My favorite sex toy is a flashlight. And those are the only things that matter.
I was like, wait, what is the flashlight? What's the flashlight connection?
Speaking of flashlight, let's go to
Fantastic.
I want you to read. We got a letter. We got another letter from a listener, and this is a letter that made me unsure of how to feel. So this is a letter from Louise. Lauren, if you want to hit the subject and then just give it to us.
Before you read this, Lauren, I just want to say, the other day this letter came in. Brian was reading it at his desk, and Brian was laughing to himself, and I went, "Oh, like, well, tell me about that." And Jer said, "Oh, are you reading the letter?" Brian said, "Yes." Then Jer proceeded to say, "Taylor, don't fucking read the email. Don't read the emails. Any email that came in today to this email, don't read it." and he really didn't want me to see it.
Because
so.
I think that I speak on behalf of the world when I say we all love a good Tay reaction, right?
Right.
Like when we kept it under wraps that Jer has sleep apnea.
Yeah.
Just
I love that you-
purely for
I
your
love
reaction.
that you really needed to preface that.
Well, I mean,
I really do not know about this.
I
That's
really
what you
don't.
said.
I really don't know. No, but I'm saying that Jer obviously thought that it was worthwhile, and like like you said, everybody loves my reaction to things.
All right, so here we go. This is now. This
The
will be a
truth
clip
behind
on YouTube. If anyone wants to watch our YouTube videos, there's going to be a whole clip. Taylor reacts to wild email.
Dude,
Unbelievable.
dude,
That's a great title.
Dude, that's a great title. But my reactions are really encapsulated by Brian's thumbnails on our YouTube clips.
That's very true.
Guys,
Tay reacts to mildly worded letter.
I love making thumbnails, you guys.
By the way, folks, we are on YouTube, and you can watch this entire host segment over on our YouTube, Sick Boy. Check out the channol. Lauren, hit us with that letter, and let's watch Tay react.
Okay, so the subject is sometimes hard to listen to. ...
You guys, I just want to say, I read that subject line. I was like, "Fuck this letter!"
Good,
right,
great.
right away.
Who doesn't love a good piece of criticism?
But then I kept reading it.
It's pretty funny. Okay. As a biologist who now focuses on teaching anatomy and physiology at an Ontario college, because Louise does not want people to know that she listens to Sick Boy or wrote this letter. I love that she kept it quite vague. I find myself cringing at your terrible lack of knowledge about the human body. And then after Googling, how often you still get things so wrong.
Even our research doesn't.
We're even bad at researching answers.
This is, however, made up for by how fascinating you are at digging into what's really important.
Oh, I was like, as creatures? Like in the wild?
Digging into what's really important. Not the human body, but the human mind and how the person truly feels about it.
Fuck, dude, she's hitting the nail on the head right now.
Mhm.
They, actually, I'm not sure if it's a woman or whatever.
Yeah, we'll have her rewrite our promotional materials. While I'll still continue to teach my nursing students the correct biology. Nice little dig there, Louise. I will think about perhaps recommending your podcasts.
Oh,
I will think about perhaps recommending your podcasts.
yeah, wow.
I just want to emphasize that. To help them see beyond a disease to see the whole person. Keep it up.
Guys, I just want to say this is the type of review you get on iTunes. That's like a solid 3.
Solid
like
3
it's like a 3. It's like somebody actually took time to like give you like semi-critical feedback. They don't really care what you think, but they were just like, "Hey, I figured I'd review
No,
it."
no.
so
You
that-
know what?
that somebody who's listening knows like what to expect when they get into this.
I read that email and I felt really grateful to get that email, because here's the thing is that Louise, you just said it, Tay. Louise, you nailed it on the fucking head.
Mm-hmm.
I say it all the time,
Idiots.
fucking dum-dums. Like of course, we don't know shit. And that's not what this podcast has ever been about. The podcast is truly just about hearing the experience of others. And that's what's important about the show. Now, of course, it's evolved over the last almost 6 years. And we're speaking to a lot of more individuals and folks who work in the field of health sciences. And here's the other thing. It's
Talking
their
about-
job.
talking about cum just as much.
Yeah, it's their
Guys.
job to tell us about the things that we don't know.
See, it's like a stay in your lane.
That's right.
Type of email though. Like,
It is.
like, hey, like
It
I
is.
see you guys venturing out there. Stay in.
And to
your
that,
lane.
Louise, I say, fuck you.
No.
Because I'm swerving all over this goddamn road and I don't give a fuck. And that's my reaction right there. Caption it right here. Brian, thumbnail this.
Okay.
I'm
So
dying.
but yes,
don't know why that's
to that
so
note,
funny.
to that note, again,
I'm crying.
we still don't know what we're talking about. And that's the fun about these fucking conversations that we have is that's not our job to fucking
No.
know. Our job is just to facilitate these conversations and hey, don't blame me if nothing sticks. I have cystic fibrosis. Okay, Louise. I don't get enough oxygen
Yeah.
to my brain to retain that fucking information.
Louise
But
really.
I do
put
thank you for that email because I did love that letter. It fucking made me laugh.
Yeah.
It's pretty great, and I hope, Louise, that you'll upgrade to thinking about probably recommending this podcast.
And you know what? Think about probably supporting us on Patreon.
yeah.
You know what, guys? I do have to say I agree with you, Jer. I did think it was really sweet and funny email. But also I thought you know what? I'm gonna take it upon myself to try to learn a little bit more about the things that are also important in health, which is not just the human experience, but the actual science behind
Nah,
it.
dude, you're not a scientist. Learn schmern. Hey,
I'm trying to get my honourary doctorate, though.
here's
Dude, we don't need to know science to get that.
yeah, that's true. Here's something interesting though that doesn't have much to do with the biology of things, Louise. So you'll be happy to know I'm not going there right after your email, but I will be going there later when we talk about penises. But before we get to penises, I do want to talk about this really interesting article that came out in it was I believe it was Forbes or Insider. I should have this written down, but I didn't. The title of the article is Japan has appointed a minister of loneliness
I think it was Insider, yeah.
after seeing suicide rates in the country increase for the first time in 11 years. So this idea, this appointed job of minister of loneliness is not unique to Japan. It's actually not the first time that this job has been given to someone.
Yeah.
I believe the first country that received a minister of loneliness was the UK.
Yes.
And the article goes on to say Japan has appointed a minister of loneliness in an attempt to reduce loneliness and social isolation among its residents as the country deals with rising suicide rates, Tomohiro Osaki reported for the Japan Times. Prime Minister Yoshide Suga appointed Tetsushi Sakamoto, who is already a minister in charge of dealing with Japan's declining birth rate and promoting regional revitalization. This guy has a fucking lot of
Yeah.
to oversee the government policies
Children
to deal
of
with
men.
loneliness and isolation earlier this month. Loneliness has been a long-time issue in Japan, often discussed alongside of what is called hikikomori, or people who live in extreme isolation. So I looked up hikikomori, and it's this phenomenon that is defined by Japanese Health, Labor, and Welfare Ministry as people who have stayed in their home for 6 months or more without going to school, to work, or venturing out to socialize. And here's what's really interesting.
This is
really
a known
interesting.
term. Like, not a known term, but like
that's-
a...
That's something I find
Common
really
term?
interesting about other cultures, though, is that they have different words to describe things that like we can't even put words
Yeah.
on in the English language or in
Mhm.
Western culture. Like
Yeah.
it's these concepts of like emotions and feelings in a lot of ways that like we can't even characterize with our language and
Yeah.
the way that we
Yeah.
think of things here.
So hikikomori is not something that has been, and I want to stress that this isn't something that has come out of COVID. This has existed as a phenomenon in this case in Japan for
Well, Japan
quite a long time.
has a like a long history of like high suicide rates, does it not? What was the suicide forest? Do you know about that?
Yeah, it's a forest. I believe it's at the base of Mount Fuji, and it's a lot of people would go into this forest and basically take their lives. And there's a lot of lore behind the forest, but
Yeah, like Logan Paul would go there and stuff and make videos.
let's not even fucking go there. So again, this isn't something that came out of COVID. This is something that
Did he
has
do that?
existed.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
guys, let's
it was-
not go into that. That's
Yeah.
just gross.
It was
That-
bad.
that's
It was-
fucking
Hey, you know
gross.
what, Logan Paul? I'll fight you.
Logan Paul reacts.
God, I hate being on YouTube now.
I love it.
Oh my god, it's fantastic. A whole new world.
Out of Japan, a 2016 survey found that 541,000 15 to 39-year-olds were living in isolation. So this is 2016. The figure is actually lower than what it was estimated to be in 2010, when 696,000 were thought to be suffering from hikikomori. But those who withdraw are doing so for longer, according to this study back in 2016. As those who have shut themselves in their homes for at least 7 years accounted for 35% of the total. Another 29% have lived in recluse for 3 to 5 years, the Japan Times reported. So
that is a crazy amount of time to be in reclusion.
Yeah. And so obviously this has already happened. This was happening in 2016. It was a phenomenon, an issue that the country was seeing and reporting on and trying to find ways to alleviate. Back then, there were engineers in Japan that previously designed a robot to hold someone's hand when they're lonely. Oh, fucking sweet.
That is so Dorbies. Japanese.
And there was it is very Japanese.
That is the most Japanese thing I've ever heard.
There was one man who charged people to do nothing except keep them company. So he put it out on Twitter and he was like, "Look,
I would love that job.
I know hikikomori is an issue. I'm willing to put myself out there to be hired to just sit with you and do nothing." And it was wild to see the things that he would sit down with people and, whatever, they would like go to a bar and he would just sit there and they would talk to him. He would do nothing except for just listen or just be present. And he had people admit murder to him and just wild things, and people just like spilling the shit out. But anyway, that's another conversation.
But that would even be very like that person doing that job, somebody who is in isolation or has no social connections. If you don't have that that catalyst to behave differently in some way than you would when you're completely alone, then even just if that person was there and you didn't even speak to them, you will be different.
Yeah.
In the presence of somebody.
Yeah.
What a great side hustle for an undercover cop.
Yeah, right? Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Let's introduce a little conspiracy into this.
You know what though? It's interesting to think because I think of that job as like in a way similar to what therapists do. Obviously, like it goes without saying that therapists are actually trained to.
It's still therapy. It's just different.
It's less akin to therapy and more akin to sex work.
Yeah, I guess. I think it's somewhere in the middle. Let's say it's probably in the middle.
Yeah, you know what?
Probably perfectly in the middle.
100%.
But the interesting thing is, I think about therapy and I think about the concept of, is it called hikikomori?
Hikikomori. And look, if Louise, if I'm saying it wrong,
give us a break.
Can you fucking email us again? And
she also teaches Japanese,
but
at an Ontario college. We don't know which.
The interesting thing about that concept is that like the fact that there's a name for that phenomenon there. I imagine that in therapy there's like a way to there's probably like some type of way that they would maybe treat's not the right word, but like some system that they would use to assist people who are experiencing that. Yet like we probably do have people in the Western world. I'm stuck on this idea, obviously, but we probably have people who are experiencing similar things in the Western world that we don't have a name for.
We do. The United Kingdom was the first country to appoint a loneliness minister in 2018.
Right, but is it just loneliness? Like,
after 2017,
I think it's encapsulating.
It seems like a more like it's a more.
I think it's a bit of a. I think it's a bit of a euphemism for, maybe like an umbrella term for like mental health issues.
Did you ever listen to that?
I mean, it's definitely mental. It's not. I don't think it's an umbrella term for mental health issues, because that is an umbrella term for so many things.
But
I'm saying it's a euphemism, meaning like it's like it's a nice sounding word instead of being like minister of mental illness.
But sorry, I see what you mean in terms of the actual job title.
But I'm thinking of it more in the sense. Do you guys ever hear that Radiolab episode? I forget what it was called, but it was about this concept of Laggett.
I do. I can't remember what it was, but I vaguely remember.
There was this group of people, a culture of people who had this like way of experiencing grief where they would like go out into this like space on their own and they would just like yell or moan or like feel this like a visceral, like full body feeling that they would like vocalize and like do this
It's
like
called keening.
Are you being serious?
Yeah,
Is that good?
keening is the term.
We never
for-
know.
In this
Oh, no,
culture they
that-
called it was
it is
called
keening.
the word to describe it was legate.
Yeah,
which
keening
was-
is used in like I know in Ireland and stuff like that. But
And-
it's basically like keening is the sound of like. Yeah,
Yeah, dude, did I ever tell you guys about the time
That's
where I
cute.
felt that when I was on the zipper at one of those county fairs? Like I was on
What do you
the
mean you
zip-
felt it?
Dude, I
He
was
was
with
keening.
I was with my brother. I was with my brother. And we were spinning. We were on the
He was-
rickety,
he-
rusty zipper thing.
He was
and it's spinning in the air.
experiencing deep,
Yeah, dude, I thought I was gonna die.
grief.
I thought I was gonna die. I was spinning on this thing, and I'm next to my brother, and I'm like trying to hold him, but like the centrifugal force makes me feel like I'm flying through the air, and I felt weightless for like what felt like too long. You know, like I was like spinning. We were probably at the top, and I was like, I'm weightless for way too long right now. The thing has detached. I'm about to die. Like I thought we were flying across the Sportsplex parking lot, and I was flying to my death. And I just went like this. I went, "Ah!" and my brother just started laughing.
That's keening.
Yeah.
Well,
It was- yeah.
keening is a traditional form of vocal lament for the dead, and it comes from Irish or Scottish. It's a
So
Scottish.
this
Gaelic
radio
term.
lab was about a different culture that experienced something similar,
Similar to
but
that, right.
but like we don't have a word for that in Western
Yeah.
in our Western culture, and so like
we do.
I
It's
was
keening. It is. So I don't.
So,
mean,
fuck you, Brian.
Yeah, I know. I don't
in
mean
North
to, I don't mean
America.
to be a
In
dick
North
to you.
America, we don't say
We
don't-
do. We do.
We
though.
say that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I say it
So-
4 times a week.
Yeah. Okay.
The term keening is used in Western in
right.
in
Okay.
Western language.
But
I get what you're saying.
my point was, and maybe it's not accurate, but my point is like I was wondering if hikikomori was like a different word to describe something that's similar to what we might experience here, but a little bit different.
Was
Well,
that?
and-
Oh, sorry. Was that Radio Lab episode like about a place that was also an island nation? Because that's like a theme I'm noticing. UK, Japan,
Not 100% sure.
Ireland. They're all island nations, and I wonder.
But really, isn't
Island
if
people are
it's-
weird.
They are.
Isn't the whole world an island, right?
I mean,
You're right. Yeah,
technically.
But I think you are right,
It's called
Brian. in that-
Pangea.
I think you're right, Brian, in that it's a term, it's a word that is. We see that a lot in language where there's different languages have terms or words for things that are so specific
Mhm.
Yeah.
that we don't typically have here
Yeah.
in
Thank you.
North
Yeah.
America. I'm with you.
To
We should high five again, Jer.
because you said that earlier, Bri, and something, and I think I might have talked about this on the podcast once before, but it's on the flip side of, well, if Hikikomori
Hikikomori.
is on this end of
Hikikomori.
the spectrum, then this will be on the other end of the spectrum. It's a Japanese term.
Hikikomori, sorry.
Japanese term. I want to say it's called maru,
Mm.
and it is
Yeah.
the practice of being grateful for 1,000 things every
Yeah.
day. And I came to that term through some investing studying that I was doing, and basically
It's how
guys-
Jeff Bezos rose to the top.
Guys, it feels like we're just flexing on Louise right now just to be like, hey, we actually know a lot of stuff because we're like pulling things out like, oh, this reminds me of this well-cultured thing that I heard about back in my
Yeah.
studies.
I
and you
still
know
have a-
what? I know what mitochondria do, Louise.
It's what mitochondria does. Fuck. Look.
Wait. You're talking about Maru.
Right.
Do you have any more to show?
Actually,
Louise how
Tay, though,
cultured we are?
it's mitochondria do because it's the plural of mitochondrian. Boom.
Thanks.
Oh,
and I knew
yeah.
that, and that's why I said it
Guys,
that way.
collectively, we know a lot.
Well, that it was actually, yeah. So you shouldn't have poured the last bit in. You got the stuff. Anyway, the end
Our
of it,
listeners love that. This is great podcasting, Tay.
the end of that was that it was actually fascinating in the way that it was being applied, because when you think of business and money and finance, you don't usually think of gratefulness, being grateful, and thinking about like the well-being of others. You think of like greed, and you think of people that are screwing people. Well, like that's what capitalism tends to connote, those thoughts. And this was coming from this Japanese billionaire who, when asked like, what is at the core of your success and how you've built your, how you've like risen to this, crazy place in the finance world. He's like, I think he might've been the richest person in Japan at the time in the 90s. He said,
Beanie Babies.
He said Beanie Babies. And he said, every time I collect a new Beanie Baby, I make another $1 billion. Or every time I make $1 billion, I collect a new Beanie Baby. No, it was that Maru is Maru. Maru is at the center of his ethos, and that any company that he is invested in, there has to be a culture within the company that there is like an attitude of gratitude for everything that they do, down to like the product that ends up going out to the consumer, and that like that shows up in how consumers purchase a product, and like that's why the success of the company is such, and that's why he invests in companies, and like that has to be present.
And I saw that video of that interview that he gave where he mentioned that, and he was sitting on the back of a servant with his feet kicked up.
I think that was Paula Abdul,
some other guy's shoulders. So back to the
thing we were talking about 20 minutes ago.
They appointed this loneliness minister because there's been a huge rise in suicides during the pandemic. So during COVID-19 in 2020, with people more socially isolated than ever, Japan saw a rise in suicides for the first time in 11 years. So it took 11 years for that country to see an increase in suicides. And here's something that's really interesting, because we've talked about this on the show a bunch, especially when talking about men's health. Oftentimes, suicide is an issue that is much more prevalent in men. And in Japan, women in particular have contributed to the uptick in suicides. In October, 879 women died by suicide in Japan.
Oh, crazy.
A 70% increase compared to the same month in 2019.
And isn't the stat overall that we've heard is that men are like 3 times more likely to commit suicide? It's something.
I mean,
crazy.
I think it's more the nuances that men are more likely to be successful, because men tend to use, or men might also attempt suicide more, but also men tend to use more violent means that are more successful. Also, feels like the wrong word, but
yeah, I know. Yeah.
Also, guys, I watched a really, our friend Jeremy Allen, funeral director from Edmonton,
J-Bone,
Death Ed.
I watched an amazing Insta live that he did the other night when he was talking about a good friend of his who had just recently died by suicide, and he was saying he went through the history of like why we said commit suicide, because it used to be illegal,
right,
to commit an act of suicide, but the language is changing around that, where now you don't say commit suicide because it's not a crime anymore. You say die by suicide.
Yeah, right. A little bit of stats here, just kind of staggering, really. In October, so this is October 2020, more people died from suicide than had died from COVID-19 in Japan in all of 2020.
Holy shit! Wow.
There were 2,153 suicide deaths that month, and 1,765 total virus deaths up to the end of October of 2020.
And what's Japan? 40? I want to say it's 40 million, something like that. Is their population?
I was going to say at least 100,000.
I think it's 40 million.
But I also did look up the comparative suicide rates of men and women. And men, it's about 3 to 4 times higher.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
and Japan's population is 126.
Oh, I was way off on
million.
That. Oh, I was off too. I said, what did I say? Just over 100,000.
I thought it was 8.
8 people.
Yeah, in Tokyo.
Wow.
Now, as to why that's happening more so with women in Japan than men, I don't know. And as far as I could tell, Japan doesn't know.
It's here though too. Like suicide rates in women have been climbing dramatically as well.
The pandemic has disproportionately affected women economically as well.
That was one thing
I think
that
that's
they had,
probably partly why. Like more women have lost their jobs. And then are expected to bear the brunt of childcare as well. Like while they're trying to juggle working from home, and it's especially. And it's even worse for women of color than for white women.
Yeah.
So
and we talked about that with Jody Carrington, like how kids are still, a lot of kids are still are home from school.
Yeah.
And like just the whole like clusterfuck of being not being able to work, having a kid that stays home all day, having to take care of that kid, or having your job and having a kid that's at home all day, and like the dilemma in that, and it falling on women predominantly to take care of a child.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they do go on to say here in the Insider article, more and more single women live alone in Japan, but many of them don't have stable employment. So, you take that and then stack on top of that a global pandemic. And
it's a fascinating country.
Man,
it really
I would,
is. Yeah,
if
really
Canada's looking for a minister of loneliness, I would love, that would be like probably one of my dreams.
What do you think? What do you think the qualification, what do you think if the government of Canada was like, we're creating this position now, and we think that this person needs, ABC.
I could tell you the first thing they'd say is
honorary doctorate.
They would go, have they received an email from Louise? If they have, they're fucking out.
Yeah. If they don't know biology,
I think that if they were formerly a Care Bear in their past life, then they would probably that would probably be a desirable trait.
Is that how you identify?
Like a teddy bear?
That you were a Care Bear in your past life?
I've never thought of it before until now, but I like to think
your shirt is basic. Can you give our primary camera a close up?
How about instead of doing that, just flash a photo of what is on your shirt on the screen now? And there you go. That was what it was on Brian's shirt.
If our videos were monetized, they just got demonetized.
Yes, they did. Again, folks, all of our host segments on the show are being broadcast now on YouTube. So Sick Boy on YouTube, go check it out. We'd love to see you there, and hit that subscribe button, knock the bell icon, and leave a comment below, and you can send us an email, letters at sickboypodcast.com, patreon.com/sickboy, and hey, I can live at I was gonna say Taylor's address, but I'm not gonna do that.
Hey, you guys know. Okay, I got a good question. I got a good question for you guys. You know how the Care Bears had the like emblems on their bellies, on their little tummies?
Yeah.
If you were a Care Bear, what emblem would be on your belly?
Enchiladas.
Pentagram.
Jared's like, he took mine.
A flashlight.
It would have been that. And then I thought maybe a flashlight, but no, I've never used a flashlight, so I don't know. I would say like two penises docking.
I saw the tattoo on Snake Pit.
Of the docking penises. Yeah.
I hate you guys.
Hey,
mine would be buttered toast.
Wait, should I tell our beautiful listeners and our potatoes about
Snake Pit? No.
About my dream last night?
Oh no.
About Snake Pit?
Snake Pit? No. Don't spread that. It's filth. No, save that for a Patreon hangout, which is happening tonight.
Okay, yeah.
And it happens every couple of weeks. So patreon.com/sickboy. Speaking of penises docking.
Oh fuck.
Oh my god, that was a segue. I didn't even know.
Moving on to this wild story that was brought to my attention by Lauren here. Thank you so much. This is the content that I'm always looking for, and I loved it. Mm-hmm. Burst out laughing, not a laughing matter, but also burst out laughing when I read the headline. Headline here: a man suffered a 9-day erection.
Oh my god!
After a very minor accident involving his moped. So this was in a study published in the journal Case Reports in Urology.
Which, let's subscribe.
Yeah, seriously.
Better fucking put our email down for that. info@sickboypodcast.com. Doctors described the case of a 35-year-old British man who fell off his moped and hit it.
Why is every article about a British guy?
I know. It's like, you'd think we'd have way more Florida men. 35-year-old British man who fell off his moped and hit his taint or his perineum.
Did they say taint in the article?
They do say taint in the article.
Really?
Yeah. The part of the body between, so anyone who doesn't know, the taint or the perineum is the part of the body that rests between your scrotum and your anus. If you're driving your car right now, you can just slide your hand down, lift, and go under the balls, and you can just push up, and that.
Dude, you're on camera right now.
That is your taint.
Also, I'm going to cut away from you on that.
Good idea.
And
he's in both. He's in all the shots.
I thought taint was slang.
Taint is slang.
So
that's why I was surprised that they used it.
Yeah.
He developed bruising, but had no other significant injuries. So this guy's driving his moped, fucking red light, doesn't expect it, bails on the bike. As he bails, bike slides to the left, his body slides to the right, legs spread, telephone pole, or rather a street sign pole, and he just gently bumps into it and bruises his taint. Okay. However, he went on to develop.
They say all of that in the article?
No, I'm just imagining, however the fuck it works. But he went on, so he thought nothing was wrong. Goes on to develop an erection that lasts for 9 days. Okay,
Dude, that's so intense.
but here's the thing.
That just sounds tiring.
The guy was too embarrassed to go to the doctor, so he just kind of left it going. He left this
classic male stigma.
Think about you have like a 2 or 3 day boner, and you're like, this is
dude,
fucked.
2 or 3 day boner, as if you can imagine that.
Guys, the
That
rule
is hard to
You
imagine.
wake up in the morning and you can tell you've been hard for like the past 3 hours, and I immediately am like, oh fuck, go away now, because you kind of ache, and I it would be really
Do
great.
you think that's how hard that's how long you're hard for when you wake up in the morning? 3 hours?
Well, that has something to do with a sleep stage.
It's hard to tell.
You only get hard.
It can be painful sometimes, but 4 hours is like, if you have a boner for 4 hours, like you're supposed to go directly to the hospital.
That is Brian. That is actually true.
I know
If you have a
that.
boner for over 4 hours, that's when you're so.
that's
sp-
classic
Why are you
Viagra.
surprised that
It's
what I
o-
said is true?
well, I'm just surprised that you actually knew that it was specifically over 4 hours.
Guys,
That's when you got to seek help.
So
If you
even
have to know
if
something
it's
about
not
the health of your penis, like
so
you
even
should
if it's
know
not
it.
4 hours, man, I'm like, if you wake up in the morning and you've got morning wood and you've been hard for even an hour. I mean, do you guys feel like that? I wake up in the morning hard and I go and I can tell it's been there, and I'm ready for it to go away.
like you just want it to dissipate.
Because I gotta sit down and take a piss.
Not
I
me,
gotta
man. Not me.
what are you waking up and like
No, I wake up and
having a wank?
I wake up and I'm like,
Wait, did you say wake up or wank up?
I wake up and then I look
Okay.
down and I go,
Wake and wank.
this has probably been here for about an hour. And then I'm like, well,
I got another 3.
I go, he's not
Before I
going.
gotta go to the hospital.
Yeah, he's not going away anytime soon. So I get up and I use it. I use it to my
Make
to my
coffee,
advantage. Yeah.
yeah.
I make pancakes. Fucking flip without my hands. Flip
Yeah.
them.
Oh god.
like a donut holder with legs.
100%. I get in the shower, dry off. Shit, towels all wet. I'm like, I gotta hang this up to dry. Hanging off my cock.
That's
Walk
funny.
around. Get things done.
I literally
Don't say
do the
cock.
exact same thing.
Don't say cock without a British
I
accent.
pour myself a boiling hot cup of coffee, and then I just put the
Oh my
handle
God.
straight through. Just
This
hanging
is
in there.
vicious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, me too.
And then I can do other shit with.
I do this other thing where I do this other thing where I take where I pour the coffee. I put again because you guys know I love sugar in my coffee. Right? So I pour the coffee, and then I put it down, put the sugar in it, and of course it needs to be stirred. So then I do this.
Oh, I feel violated.
Fucking clip it.
So this poor guy,
That'll be the cold open in this YouTube video.
the poor guy in England. He's got a boner
Oh my
for
God.
far too long. He ends up going into the hospital finally after 9 fucking days. Goes into the hospital. Quote, on examination, there was a grade 4 erection with a rigid base and shaft. The doctors write in the report. Grade 4 on the erection hardness score. This is actually a real thing. Is the hardest erection on the scale, where the penis is completely hard and fully rigid.
Wait, hold on. What's my erection score when I'm doing work? You know,
I want
like,
guys,
is it 4 or is it 2?
I want to
Doing work as in using your cock as a hammer and
guys, I want to
doing work on the
incorporate.
trolleys.
I'm going to incorporate that into my my dirty talk now. I'm going to be like, I'm grade 4. I'm
grade,
rigid.
I'm grade 4. I'm fully erect and fully rigid.
Grade 2.
I'm getting there.
A little bit more, I'll be at grade 3.
Oh my God.
So
God,
he had a
that's
fully hard and fully rigid penis. The man had not suffered pain in his erection, though he did report mild discomfort on walking, as you would probably expect. So this guy's walking around, tucking his big old piece, and it's not hurting, but he's like, oh God, man, this boner
it starts to throb.
It's been a week and 2 days.
Oh
Like,
my God.
Yeah, that's
boner's
wild.
annoying.
I can't even imagine.
Wait, but do you think, because like if you guys ejaculate, I was gonna say come, but
you can say
if
it.
You can say come, Brian.
if you come, if you ejaculate,
Yeah.
no, you can't say it like that.
No,
though. You
tell
gotta go.
me- yeah.
You gotta go.
come,
Yeah. Tell
yeah.
me more.
if you guys come,
yeah.
Yeah.
What
does
happens?
how long can your dick stay hard after that?
It entirely depends on the scenario I'm in.
Totally.
If I'm in my car in the parking lot, very quickly goes down. If I'm in the middle of having very raucous mid-afternoon,
Relax your eyelids, dude.
What about right before your coffee?
If you come right before
pre-coffee goes down real quick.
But like,
I'm pretty quick.
but
It's
so-
pretty quick after.
So like, but like,
Yeah.
my thoughts is that like, if this guy had a raging boner for like 9 hours,
I love how
say
you didn't want to say come, but you say boner so easily.
yeah, because I just like the word
this is
boner.
literally, this guy's life is like a fucking porn scene
But-
in the making where he's like, oh, I got this boner.
Brian,
but
don't know what to do
Did he
with it.
jerk? Did he
Porn
jerk
scene?
off though? Like, I'm wondering. Like, I
Porn-
mean, at some point, it's begging for you to like take care of it.
begging.
You know? Like, so like, but like, I'm just wondering, did he not fucking jerk off and then go, oh yeah, it should dissipate now, and then like,
I bet
like,
you he did. I bet you he did go, I bet he did go, blimey.
What if this guy
Me,
just?
me cock is all fucking ripe.
What if he just edged for like
right.
9
Give
days?
yourself a wank.
edging. Yeah, he's just
And then,
really
and, then,
edging.
and then he goes, that
He had a cheeky wank.
was a cheeky wanking. Jesus.
I'm still
Me
a
cock's-
fool.
Me cock's still at a 4.
Still saluting the Queen, I am.
I can't be pulling a willy copter with a hard penis.
I looked up the scores though, the 1 through 4 scores.
Yeah, what do you got? What do you got there?
Is there
It makes
diagrams?
sense. No, well, I don't know. I'm just on the front page of Google. I'm doing just as thorough a search as
Yeah.
Louise would expect from this podcast.
Please tell me that number one equals half chub.
No, I'd say that's more of a 2.
Half
Oh,
chub's a
really?
2. Okay, let's
Oh,
hear
okay.
it.
I feel okay. So a score of 1 indicates that the penis is larger than normal, but not hard. 2 means the penis is hard, but not hard enough for penetration. So to me,
so
that's
bendy.
a half chub.
That's a chub.
bendy.
That's a
Yeah.
chub. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 means the penis is hard enough for penetration, but not completely hard. 4 is rock hard.
4 is doing damage.
I
That's
feel
how
like
it's phrased.
I feel like I can't compete unless I got a 4. I feel like
Oh.
it's 4 or no go.
Yeah, 4
No.
though
Well,
it
but
says
no, there's
completely
like,
hard, fully rigid. That's a
3
4.
3 is like, yeah, like you're doing it, but like you feel like your performance isn't like
Well,
as
but
high as
I
you'd
feel
like it to
I
be.
feel like my erection grade, my newly learned erection grade, is directly correlated to my arousal.
Well, yeah.
So if I'm not 4, then like it's like you're first or last.
So
you
you're
know?
you're either on or you're
in
off.
this scenario, you're fourth or last.
I'm just going to say right now that if you are just now, Taylor, realizing that if you are at a 4 when you are making sweet love to your mate versus when you are at a rock hard 4 when you are doing sick boy's taxes. If you're just making that realization right now that the latter example is not okay, that's not okay.
dude.
No, I'm just saying that that like
Dude, when you think about your bike, you're at a 4. Okay?
Yeah.
Dude, when I'm thinking about building a bike,
Jesus
I'm at a
Christ.
5.
All right, here, let me get through this. So
What are we throwing to after this?
so a very, very important conversation. But before we get to that, so he goes in. He's got.
We got to split these episodes up.
I know. You know what? That's a good idea. Maybe we should do that. So he goes in with mild discomfort with this very. I mean, I don't know. I feel like he probably had a good time over the 9 days. It doesn't say anything outside of the fact, just mild discomfort, and that doesn't mean it's not fun. Doctors took a blood gas analysis of the area and found it was consistent with high flow priapism, a prolonged erection caused by unregulated cavernous arterial inflow. Now, you guys know what a priapism is, right?
I don't.
A priapism is exactly this. A priapism is a boner that won't quit. You can get a priapism from a number of different things. One of the things that this is very morbid, but I do know this, is that oftentimes priapisms show up when people get hanged. So a hanging produces a priapism, which is really interesting.
So depending on how high up that person is, you could hang another person off.
Yeah. Amen, sister.
That was really funny.
Yeah, that was good. So causes of priapism, if you aren't familiar, priapism is caused by taking medications for erectile dysfunction. So Viagra causes priapism.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, here's a forced boner.
And that's why they're like, go to the hospital
If you have it for more than 4 hours. That's right. But it also is caused from other things. And this, I learned this today. These include sickle cell disease. Some studies say that 42% of men with sickle cell disease will get priapism at some point.
Oh, wow.
Cancer. Cancers like leukemia have a malignant infiltration of the penis. Nutrition. Sometimes receiving nutrients through an IV like TPN can cause this problem. Medications. Priapism is caused by taking medicines for erectile dysfunction. Certain medications, such as depression treatment, trazodone, are known to cause it.
Is there anything there
Hold on.
about
The last thing, though.
being a passenger on an airplane?
No, or a passenger on a bus. No.
Because that is a priapism.
That
I mean,
is
it's kinda-
totally
Because every time I go to sleep on a goddamn plane,
Yeah.
I put a sweater over my
Me
lap
too, dude,
because I
without
know
fail.
100% I'm waking up rock hard.
Here's a really interesting thing that I
And I don't want Louise sitting next to me to get offended.
It'd be like, wow, that's a grade 4.
Oh my God, Louise, I'm so sorry. I actually really did appreciate your email.
me too.
The last cause of priapism here was drugs, using street drugs like marijuana and cocaine. And look,
Does it say street drugs?
Yeah, it says street drugs. Street drugs. Allegedly, I'm not going to say I've done cocaine, but I've never heard of cocaine giving you a big boner. I've heard of the opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
If I had to see, that's interesting because if you think about cocaine, you'd think that it would.
It gives
Yeah,
you
you think
confidence. It doesn't give you boners.
Okay.
But hey, maybe it does. So this guy had what they said to be a high flow priapism, which is one of two types of priapism. So there's high flow and there's low flow. High and low flow high and low flow are the two different types. High flow is the least dangerous type out of the two. Low flow priapism is caused by a blockage, preventing the flow of oxygenated arterial blood from reaching the erectile tissue in the penis. This type is often painful and requires urgent treatment. As if enough oxygen doesn't reach the tissue of the penis, it can begin to die off, leaving permanent damage. High flow priapism, the type that this guy had, is a lot rarer and usually is the result of blunt trauma. The doctors performed an ultrasound and CT angiogram to determine the cause and found damage to the cavernosal artery, causing unregulated pooling of blood within the sinusoidal space, propagating a non-ischemic erection due to the continuous supply of oxygenated blood. So essentially,
Take
the
that,
injury
Louise.
he has sustained from falling off his moped was causing too much oxygenated blood to rush to his penis. However, I got to show you this. So, of course, looking at priapisms earlier, I was like, how do they fucking fix that? here is how they fix a priapism. I did look up videos and pictures. I'm not going to put this up here because I don't think A, YouTube will allow it, and B, I actually didn't want to do this to any of you. But here's a diagram of.
So we're only us are seeing
this is the diagram. So what they do, if you have a priapism that's a low flow priapism,
oh no,
they have to give you a type of shunt. So here are all the different types of shunts that you can get. So that top
I hate
one,
that word.
I know, shunt. I know, right? Now imagine shunt in your pee-pee. The top one here is what I think is like two basically big punctures that they put into the head of your penis that go all the way through to fuck off, Louise. It's the two channels in your cock that have the blood, okay? And then the one below that
it's like your vas deferens or something like that.
It's not that, but something like that, whatever. And then the one below that, they take a scalpel and they just go,
oh no.
They pop the scalpel in to make enough room for the blood to flow out. The third one down there, and again, folks, if you want to see this, go over to YouTube. The third one down is like these two tubes that they kind of shove in. But here, the second one, over on the side here, the open distal shunting, this is where it gets super fucking gnarly. And the photos are, if you're one of those people that love seeing gnarly, like medical photos, this one's up your alley.
Put this on graphic content on the Discord.
Yeah, for sure. They like make an incision.
Oh, you're gonna show.
They make it. No, I'm not gonna. Don't worry, I'm not gonna show you. They make an incision like a doorway, and they pull the door back, and then they insert a full shunt in there to give room for the blood to flow out of the pee-pee. So they basically have to like
draining it.
They're draining it. It's all about draining it. Yeah.
Is your pee-pee gonna go back to normal after that?
They sew the fucker up.
Fuck.
And
it's all good?
Yeah, it's
too
all
much.
good, but you got a couple cool scars on you. And which would be kind of cool because you got like these two eyes.
You've had a catheter, right?
I've had a catheter. Yeah, loved it.
Dude, I was so against that.
Loved
in the hospital.
Loved every second of it.
Oh my god.
You must be into sounding
so much.
Mm.
I actually, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. This is for another podcast. Turn Me On podcast. Check it out. It's one that I do with my wife. I can imagine how sounding would be nice. I don't think I could do it.
That's the wildest thing I've heard you say.
I know what you mean, Jared.
I want to watch you.
That's wilder than me saying that Jolene is my favorite song of all time.
I would watch you
No, it's a beautiful
try
song.
to sound.
There would be a difference between.
I get it. I get that there's.
It's like when you scratch a good itch.
Yeah.
I bet it feels like that.
Oh my god.
Hey, how common do you think priapism is?
Probably really common.
1 in 7.
Oh, okay. Currently, priapism remains a common reason for many men to be seen in. Let's just rephrase that. Commonly, priapism remains a common reason for many people with penises to be seen in the emergency department. In fact, between 2006 and 2009, 3 years, it is estimated that there were 32,462 visits made to emergency departments in the U.S. for priapism. This represents a national incidence of 5.34 per 100,000 men per year. That's a lot of priapism.
Like 1 in 20,000.
That's like that's a fair amount. That's more than I would have thought. It's pretty rare. I didn't think it was like that common.
I bet it's more common. Just people don't go. Like people don't go to the.
Well, I think you have to.
You gotta get rid of it.
Fucking Jonathan Little here didn't go for 9 days.
But like, do you think that? Do you think
funny.
that there's?
Thanks.
So, do you think that's? I don't even want to say this out loud, but do you think that some people with priapisms it could just get better? Like it could just go away?
Generally, high flow if you have low flow priapism, no, you want it like you are.
But high flow is more common and less dangerous.
I don't know about the commonness of both, but high flow is less dangerous. Generally, high flow priapism is treated conservatively through ice packs, mechanical decompression on the affected blood vessels. Which when I read that, I'm just thinking like, A good old tug.
Dude,
You know, a little fucking tug will take care of
Mechanical
that.
decompression.
Or just holding the patient for observation until it desists. So yeah, I mean, it's like it can just go away. It's
have you
more
guys
likely
ever
than not.
have you guys ever hit your taint really hard on anything?
Yes.
Do you get that feeling of like that weird feeling in the tip of your dick when you do it? Like
Yeah.
it's almost like
I
like
spent
a
13
weird
hours
sort
a
of-
week on a bicycle seat.
so you know what I'm like. Does that
Yeah,
mean
but that's
that you
just
know what I'm
that's
talking
just
about?
sitting on a bicycle.
I mean,
seat.
like,
Brad Steinist in
trauma.
grade 6 fully football punted my cock,
Oh my god.
and I
Whoa.
dropped and threw up.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Jesus.
I
Well, that's
got-
because of your,
And I'll
your
never,
balls.
I'll
not
never,
'cause of your
I'll
taint.
never forget. Well, I mean, it was a full. No. It was full spectrum contact.
But you throw up because of your balls.
I got tripped
yeah,
or something playing
maybe.
hockey when I was younger, and I somehow went in the boards or something happened. But I like was in a lot of pain when I went down. But I got up and I skated to the bench, and I sat down on the bench. And when I sat down on the bench, I had this like incredibly sharp pain, like all through like my taint and like my tailbone, and I had bruised my tailbone, and so I went to the hospital. And I had to sit on a cushion in school for like 3 weeks. It was really embarrassing. But
How old were you?
Probably like 14, maybe.
Yeah, that would suck.
And I had this like really weird like pain sort of feeling in my dick, but like I wasn't like I didn't get like a hard on or anything, but it was like this like really like I felt the pain from my taint like up in the tip of my penis. It was really interesting.
That hurts.
I didn't finish reading what I put down here. In order to avoid potential erectile dysfunction later on, sorry. So what I said there is like how they treat it typically. So in this case, however, the doctors decided timely intervention was needed to be considered to avoid the potential risk of erectile dysfunction in the long term. So he came in. They're like, typically we give you some ice, watch your dick, give you a little tug, probably goes away. He comes in and they're like, they're probably like,
I've been tugging.
it's been 9 days. So they're going, we don't want this to end up with ED that's unfixable. So in order to avoid potential erectile dysfunction later on, the doctors opted to artificially restrict blood flow into the penis using a catheter to insert a gel-like foam and a microcoil. I don't know what the fuck that means, nor do I want to look it up. Louise, send us an email if you know what they're talking about. He was sent home to recover, and a year on, he was back to normal. Quote, self-reported erectile function has slowly improved over the course of 12 months, the doctors reported. Long-term follow-up has shown return to normal erectile function 12 months following the injury.
Amen.
So they put some plastic in a spring in his dick, and it made
Ugh.
it better.
You got a spring dick.
You got that spring-loaded cock, you know what I'm saying?
I hate the word cock.
I know, man. It makes me feel. Oh my lord,
It's hard.
Makes me feel weird. Makes me
Cock?
really do-
The word
yeah.
cock?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's
Interesting.
hard. It's a harsh word.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What about cock?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah,
Actually,
what-
you could do it.
Me cock?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
because
if you
when
say it
it's
with a British
when it's
accent,
British,
it's
I mean,
fine.
it still makes me
Oh.
feel kind of strange.
Oh.
But like,
Oh, me taint got hit, and now me cock is real
Hey,
hard.
but if you say me cock and bollocks,
Oh, me
then
cock and
it's-
bollocks
then
are-
it's better.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
splayed out all over the floor. Okay, how about my cock?
Yeah,
yeah,
dude,
that's
too
way-
much?
It's way too
nasty.
harsh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, this has been a fucking time. And you know what? Earlier we said we were going to throw to a conversation that was much more important than all the things we just talked about, which is true. But you know what? We've been doing this for an hour. So let's not do that today. Let's push that to next week. I hope that's okay, Lauren. And we will get into the important conversation next week.
That's a good
and
idea.
we'll just leave this conversation as is, because I think that, you know, talking about
So much value.
Dolly Parton and hard cocks and what
It
was
feels like it just sort of lives in its own sort of space.
I think,
Yeah.
it's better. I think
Yeah.
it's better it lives in its own space instead of us throwing to the importance of defunding the police or other things that we're going to be talking about in the future. So let's leave this as is, and we hope you enjoyed. And again, folks.